Welcome to Herdling. Today, I wanted to check out this new game. It just caught my eye, and it's a very short experience, maybe 2 to 3 hours. And it looked pretty fun, with a lot of beautiful vistas and these adorable animals. And I have skipped the beginning where we came out of that city back there. And now we find ourselves in this expansive golden field. What seems to be farmland. And we are charging through this gorgeous environment. The mountains ahead of us, the city behind us. And there is very little context or story in this game. Your character just wakes up, and without a word, you go out and start taming these creatures called calicorns. And you see a painting on the wall showing a distant mountaintop. And you start assembling your herd and making your way off towards the mountains in the distance as we are doing now. So we'll see whatever our adventure here has in store for us. This game has some pretty gorgeous orchestral music. So I think I'll have the background audio maybe a touch louder than I normally do, because I think the music is such a major part of this game. It would be a shame to not have that experienced. Sorry about that, I'm gonna cut that out. I was fiddling with my audio settings a little bit. I'm not sure if it's my microphones or what exactly, but with my new binaural setup, I feel that the left mic is giving a slightly better, crispness or something. So I was just fiddling for a moment with the settings here to see if I could get them to balance out a little bit, and I might have actually gone down the other direction. The right mic might be a little nicer, but that's alright. We're just figuring this stuff out. So, the object of this game is protecting your herd. So there are these spikes around, for instance. We have to make sure that our herd does not bump into any of those and get injured. I like the creature design here of these calicorns. Especially the big one. I like how it moves. But in the interest of not making this video super long, I've gone ahead and jumped forward a bit. This is still going to be a pretty long video, but I think from here we will play to the end of the game. No more major cuts. So just giving some love to this calicorn. You can pet them at any time. And we've made our way from that train station area, that depot, into this forest. This forest seems to be a forest of birch trees, a forest of birch trees. And you control your herd from behind. You have to always kind of be behind them. And look at these little ducks here. These little ducks. Looks like mallard ducks. This game is definitely not like, Pikmin, where controlling your creature is meant to be as easy as possible. This is more like, what was that game from, like the Ico developer and Shadow of the Colossus? The Last Guardian, that's what it's called. This is a little more like The Last Guardian, where navigating, controlling the animals is a little bit more of the part of the challenge. I like how his neck moves like that when he's happy. Like a big owl or something. Yeah, this is somewhere between that extreme and Pikmin, I would say, where this is pretty easy to control your herd overall, but you do have to take care, because they're sort of fluid. They're like a fluid mass, and so if you're not careful, they can kind of drift into hazards in the environment. And this game is interesting. It sort of doesn't feel super linear when you're in these wide open areas, but it guides you well enough. It does that sort of like FromSoft thing. I've seen people talk about how in Miyazaki's games he likes to use candles in the environment to guide the player without the player feeling like they're being guided. Just sort of gently draws you along the proper path. And in this, they tend to have these little flowers on the ground. These patches of colorful flowers. And it feels like, if if you keep going from flower patch to flower patch, you're generally being guided along the right path. Crossing a little brook here, a little stream, a river. What's the difference between a brook, a stream, and a river? That was maybe a bit too big to be a brook. Well, certainly too big to be a brook, I think. Maybe a little bigger than a stream, but felt a bit small for a river. That's my mental model. Brooks are really tiny, thin. Streams are a little wider, and rivers can go anywhere from, massive to a little small. So we can tame another calicorn here. And every time you tame one, of course, you enter their name. So we'll name this one Rutabaga. And can continue on our way. There's a nice little, oh yeah, and they can get dirty like this, so you have to clean them off. The environments of this game are very nice. I like how you start in a very urban area and you slowly move into more and more natural landscapes. And this autumnal birch forest is very pretty. Very pretty. So, as we're moving forward, I was thinking I've received a lot of requests for more inaudible whispering, so how about we do a stretch of inaudible whispering here? What do you say? Maybe some ear-to-ear inaudible whispering, okay? We have a little junkyard of vehicles over there, little junkyard of vehicles. Above that, little fence. So plenty of guys do. continue our journey to the mountains. Our herd has grown quite sizable at this point. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do we have more hiding in that clump over there? 7, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Looks like it. And I'm sure there will be still more to find and rescue, so it's a long trip, and we've arrived on the 4 banks, so we can get our herd moving again once we pull off some sticks. Pull off some sticks. So these, no, how would you describe this? More like atmospheric exploration game or something, very story light. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me a little bit of this particular genre that I really like. I don't know what you would call them, but for my purposes I'll call them limbo-likes, because Limbo is the first one that I can really remember, but the genre is basically like a 2D side-scrolling adventure game with horror themes usually. Usually nobody speaks. Very often you're playing as a child, and as some examples, I would say Limbo, of course, and then Inside, and then Little Nightmares 2. There's a new one coming out, well, a new Little Nightmares there is, but the people that made Little Nightmares, I believe, what are they called? They have like a mammal name, I think. Their studio's named after Tarsier Studios. I'm pretty sure they made Little Nightmares. And they're making a new one called Reanimal, I think. That one looks really freaky and good. Little Nightmares 3 also looks pretty good. But just this genre that I find very compelling, because it's usually high on imagery and atmosphere, but also high on mystery, because it doesn't really answer anything. It just presents you a world, a very evocative world, and you sort of go through it yourself and determine these things yourself, you know, like, what is this world? What does it mean? What happened to the people who lived there? There's rarely any explicit, like, lore delivered to you. I gotta actually look up Reanimal after this and see when that's coming out. I wanna make sure that I don't miss that one. So, we are ascending the mountain trails here, finding our way up. like rock statues, these calicorns put on our paths. It's very interesting. Makes you think about, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Be careful. Be careful. We don't want to have any calicorns falling to their dooms here. Alright. Another little cut there, my apologies. But here we are in this sort of mountaintop vale sort of thing here. A highland, and just stampeding our way across. And if I recall, before I left, I was talking about, sorry, just wanted to run into those butterflies. I was talking about the limbo likes, and there's something about them. I think it ties into why I like Souls-like games, or rather, just FromSoft games, really. To be honest, I don't really play Souls-likes other than FromSoft. I've played one or two, but FromSoft releases games often enough that I feel like I don't need to play other Souls-likes because I kind of get my fix from FromSoft alone, and of course, no disrespect to other people that are making them, but FromSoft is kind of the best in the business, I feel. So why step down? But one of the reasons that I love the FromSoft lore and their worlds is because they're always so open, and they have lots of facts. There's item descriptions and all this lore that teaches you about the world, but they're so open to interpretation and to mystery and question marks. And I find that so compelling that those blank spaces, right? Those question marks. Of course, in the context of FromSoft games, there's lots of lore theories and putting the pieces together. In the context of the limbo likes, there's even less to go on. There are no item descriptions to read. There's no NPC dialogue to pick apart. It's just the visuals of the world go on. The things that happen in your adventures. The generally monstrous characters that you meet. And it's just all one big question mark. It calls you to think about what the world is, and not to necessarily even come up with some grand theory about what it all means, but just to sit in a world that is so alien, so mysterious, you just don't understand it at all, and to just appreciate being in that space. That's, for me, I think what I find so fun about games like Little Nightmares, alongside the fact that the actual design is very compelling, the creature design and all this stuff. So it's a combination of factors, but just that aspect of the mystery of the world is so fascinating, and just, I don't know, you always want to know what's around the next corner. So, I'm very excited for Little Nightmares 3 and Reanimal. Is it called Reanimal? Am I going crazy? I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I haven't seen anything about it since the trailer, like last year, I think. Reanimal, I believe, because it was like reanimated animals, monsters. But yeah, I need to look into when these release dates are coming. Not sure how to get my dudes over this gap here. Don't know what I'm missing here. I've already pushed that rock as much as it can be pushed. Can I walk up this? Oh, okay. And this is... okay. Okay. I see. Now they introduced a new mechanic, a little rock, blue rock thing. I have a little game design spiel here. That way of introducing a new mechanic, it's not great in my opinion. Now I'm sort of copying what I've listened to from Valve game design, I think from their developer commentaries. But they talk about how you need to, like, if you're going to introduce a new mechanic, like, moving a box to jump through a window, you need to force the player to do it the first time. Like, give them no choice in the matter, basically. Make the environment as simple as possible, and just force them to interact with the one possible thing. And then you show it to them again with a slightly more, complicated environment, where you have to figure it out on your own. And then you can introduce it in the future in more complex situations. And this game actually did this already when we were going through that forest with all of the owl monsters. And they had those little alarm things. The first one that we encountered, there was a funnel that we had to walk through, and the funnel got so narrow, and there was one of those alarm things right in the narrowest part of the funnel, and so it was impossible for you to move through it without touching the thing and breaking it. And then you would see the owl straight ahead of you stand up and get alarmed, and it would teach you the mechanic. But they did not employ that here, because you circled around and had to move that stone. But then also off on the left you had to go up that path to activate the little blue totem. And, it'd also be fair for you to say, well, you probably should have investigated the big blue rock that you'd never seen before. And, you're right about that, but at the same time, it's sorts of strange objects in the game world that you don't investigate every time you see a new one. But anyway, that's just a little game development spiel there. A little critique for this game, I suppose. One tiny critique. You could also say, well, you're very stupid for not noticing it. And you know what? I am very stupid. In the immortal words of SpongeBob SquarePants, slightly altered, I'm ugly and I'm proud. Wait, I didn't alter it. I'm stupid and I'm proud. That just proved my point, right? I'm stupid and I'm proud. I'm stupid and I'm proud. It's crazy to think about how I watched SpongeBob when I was a kid, and it's still going today. Kids watching new seasons of SpongeBob. I saw a critique video about SpongeBob came up on my feed the other day, and it was like, why are the new seasons of SpongeBob worse than the old seasons of SpongeBob? And I was like, sorry, this is just rude. I don't really mean this in a rude way, I'm just joking, but I was like, brother, you're 35. Stop watching SpongeBob. You don't need to watch the new seasons of SpongeBob. It's a children's cartoon. But anyway, I don't really mean that in a rude way. Just a lighthearted joke. The reason that you don't like the new seasons of SpongeBob is because you're 35 years old. You know, it's not meant for you anymore. But here I am, you know, playing Star Wars video games and stuff, so who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? We have a large, isolated peak here off in the distance. The lonely mountain. I think we're gonna find Smaug in there. Smaug. I like these ravines, these drop-offs on either side. The foggy ground way off in the distance. Can't even see the bottom. Oh, we've got more of these owl things. Big monster devil owls. It's interesting how they're like owl enemies, because earlier I had thought that the big guy that we shepherd, the calicorn, kind of looks like an owl. The way that it moved its neck in like a big vertical circle. Alright. Let's get our people up this pass here. Feel I don't know, I lost any sense of the geography of Everybody's chilling. I like how when you reach these resting points, all the calicos kind of take a load off. Alright, we have a new calicorn. We're gonna name this one. Trongle. And now we're gonna have to navigate our way up after we clean our little buddy there. You need cleaning too. These guys are always getting so dirty. Getting covered in sticks and thorns and leaves and stuff. Holy cow, they're all filthy. Goober. So messy. Okay. Nobody bump into these things. Crushed enough of these already. Don't need to piss off one of these owl guys. It's an interesting portrayal of this like predator dynamic. It's a little confusing. I'm not sure if it's intentional or what, but it's a strange way of portraying how this, I don't know if these guys prey on calicorns, but like they see a whole herd of them walking right under their nest in their territory seemingly, and they just don't act on that. And we have seen them like attack the calicorns before. The first time one showed up, it was attacking that calicorn. So it just feels maybe a little incongruous. The mechanics here, the situation, feeling a little incongruous with the like animal dynamics at play. Unless they're not really predators and they're just angry at these guys for smashing up their little structures. Stop smashing our arts and crafts projects, please. Go get the ball. Go get the ball, boy. I like that. That's cute. You can throw the ball. Yes, we have another sleeping station here, so we have to find the wood for the fire, bring it all back, and light up another fire for us to get cozy by. I like short little game experiences like this. I think I've talked before about how in the modern gaming landscape there's so much gravity behind the notion that games have to be long. You know, to get your value out of a game, it has to be as long as possible. It has to be 50 hours, 80 hours, 100 hours, right? if you're not getting 100 hours out of your game, it's a waste of money. And I like, in that context, when games take a step back and say, no, this game is just 3 hours long. So yeah, even like story-based campaigns. I played RoboCop Rogue City recently. I might make a video on it where I play a level or two of it. But it was on a deep sale, and I had heard some good stuff about it, so I decided to check it out, and I quite enjoyed it. But the game just kind of started to go on for like a really long time, and by the end, I just like speed ran the last, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 missions, because I was like, surely we're almost at the end. I just want to get this over with at this point. And I'd really enjoyed the game, but it just felt like the kind of thing where you didn't have to make it this long. Games don't have to keep you around for 20, 30, 40 hours minimum to be good. But that's also a matter of taste and a matter of people's preferences and life situations and stuff. For me, I don't have a lot of time to play video games, and so I don't want my games to be like artificially padded out, or not even artificially. It's not like RoboCop was doing tons of repetitive side quests or something. It was all, for the most part, like original material that was making up the length of the game. But just even padding out the length of the game with lots of maybe technically original content, but not super interesting or not necessary, that to me feels like a negative. I would love a little bit more of a compact experience, because when you don't have a ton of time to play video games, you want the time that you do spend doing that to be really valuable, I guess. But somebody else who maybe has a lot of time to play video games is, a kid, like unemployed, some high schooler who just does their homework and then plays video games all day. They might enjoy having a ton of content in their games. They might enjoy the Ubisoft model of Far Cry and Assassin's Creed and stuff, where you're just doing a checklist of, stop the robbery side mission, and there's 57 duplicated stop the robbery missions around the map, and there's 102 vantage points to clear, and there's 48 armored trucks to rob, and blah blah blah. And that might be a positive for them, because what they want from their video game is long hours, which, I would still probably go on record and say, like, that's not the best way to engage with art, I guess. But well, that's the thing, right? Video games are art sometimes, and then they're also like just a fun thing sometimes, right? Like doing drugs or getting drunk, or watching a movie, or well, not even a movie, at least a movie, watching a schlocky movie, let's say. There's a lot of things we do that are not like, their only purpose is so that we can have fun, so that we can while away the time, sort of enjoying ourselves, eating ice cream or whatever, right? There's no benefits to it other than the fact that it just tastes good and makes us feel good. And so, I guess if your relationship with video games is, I just want to have a game that I can plug in and spend 100 hours of my life in, that's fine. We have been forced to provoke the anger of these owls here, so I'm not sure how much they're going to attack us. Okay, we just have to avoid them. I'm scared they're gonna like swoop down on me from behind and just pick up one of my guys. No, guys, turn. Okay, they kind of track my turning, so I need to get really sharp turns when they come down. Okay. We're doing fine. We had one injury, but we can avoid them. Keep moving, guys. Whoa. Keep moving. Coming down right in the slot canyon. That's rude. Don't get touched. Okay. Looks like we're good. Or maybe not. Did I die, or is that supposed to happen? Was I too slow? Okay. We're good. Are they just like... Sorry. I just had this image in my head of I walk out here into the field and all of my alicorns are just like disemboweled, being feasted on by the owls. But I don't think that's what has happened. Yeah, here we have some guys. Are they just gonna... I just need to walk near them and then they'll come back to us, maybe. Big horns on you, buddy. Let's gotta run around here and pick up our strays. Okay. All scattered around. Kind of what I'm talking about from before, where it's like the relationship between the owls and the calicorns confuses me a little bit. If these are supposed to be predator and prey animals, why are all of these guys just chilling in this field, completely unharassed by the owls? Just a bit confusing to me. Strange. But that's okay. Okay. Can't remember how many I even had in my herd. How am I gonna know when I have everybody? What are you doing? Okay. So, I just skipped ahead a little bit. I ended up taking quite a while to collect all of my herd there. running around counting them, and they weren't like locking onto each other. They kept on forming separate herds, and so I just got a little stuck there for a bit and decided I could just jump over the past like 10 minutes of me running around collecting them all. Alright, so I really like this this terrain here. This sort of I was describe it as like a tundra grassland sort of looking thing where it's mostly just these little grasses and flowers, and then these snaking multiple rivers are moving through the area. Feels like a tundra in the spring, but it's very nice. Would love to take a walk out there. It looks like it would be nice and brisk. You could have some layers on and be comfortable. Have a picnic in the grass. Alright, let's go out to this little pillar out here that seems to beckon us. Okay. We have one of these little blue things. Just have to follow this little path. Can I jump this? No, I cannot. Okay, but I can probably push it. Yeah. I summon you, my calicorns. I summon you from wherever you may lie. Look at them all in their little single file line. That's cute. I have a lot of these dudes. So the name of this game is called Herdling. Singular, Herdling, singular. So does that mean that I am the Herdling? Oh, there's a little ghost guy here. A little ghost guy. There's a mic touching. Mic brushing. Try to be very delicate. Oh, we have a guy here. A downed fellow in need of a berry. and snow, and the hazard of this area is that there are these clefts or crevices under the snow, and if you're not careful, you lead your herd onto them, like that one right there. You might plunge down to a horrible fate, so we have to be very, very careful. This is reminding me of, this is popping into my head for some reason, but, oh no, oh no, oh no, are we losing all of them? Okay, those guys are okay, it looks like. We just had to pull up one to safety. Stop yapping and start focusing on shepherding your herd. For some reason, the story that popped into my head being up on this mountain is when I was very, very young. And I don't know how old this was. Like 4 or 5, something like that. I was learning to ski. My family would go to the slopes, and so this was my first time ever going, and they put me in the little ski learning camp with a bunch of other little kids. And we have a fallen owl here, seemingly injured. I'm gonna drop a big rock on its head. Oh no. No, I'm getting fruit to feed it, to help it out, okay. It's not that kind of game. We're not executing the owls. It's not an execution, it's a mercy killing, okay? He's clearly beyond recovery. Eat away, buddy. Okay. I guess we have an owl friend now. But anyways, I remember being in that class, and I don't know, I might have been a little too young, maybe, or just, not as good as the other kids. They might have been older than me, I don't know, but when, for whatever reason, I was struggling so much to ski, I was falling and just having the worst time of my life, and I just remember crying so I was crying so hard. I was weeping basically from just humiliation and frustration, because I'm in this class and all these other kids are watching me fail, and I was thinking my parents abandoned me and all this stuff, and so that was a tough day in my memory. I still remember the just that the burning cheeks of like crying and shame and embarrassment. And I'm laughing because you look back on bad memories and they're funny in retrospect, but I if you do feel sympathy for my past self, he was having a hard day that day. I don't remember anything else about that trip or that day, but I hope that when my parents got back, they took me to get some hot chocolate or something at the lodge. So here we are at another rest area, trying to get these decorations on these Calicorns. You want to play fetch, do you? Go get it. Go get the ball. a calicorn would come over and snuggle with me. You could just burrow into its fur. It'd be a very cozy night. I don't know if I've ever shared this, but I'm a big animal lover. Growing up, we had all sorts of pets at various times. Dogs and cats, of course, but also, snakes, and I had a hedgehog, two hedgehogs actually, and we had a chinchilla at one point, and a ferret, and a fish, and gecko. There's probably some other stuff I'm forgetting, but we had a ton of animals. My true love are dogs, though. I love dogs. I remember when I was little, we had 3 dogs, and I would go into my closet at night. I had one of those little narrow closets, not a walk-in, but a very thin rectangle closet with a sliding door, and I would go in there and lay down a bunch of blankets and pillows and stuff, and then bring my dogs in there, and then close the sliding door, and we would all curl up and sleep in that little padded closet with all my bedding in it. Because I just liked, I wanted to be in a little, I don't know, den, I guess. I liked to sleep in little dens when I was little. I would, want some little confined space. But I loved the closet because then the dogs could come in with me, and it'd be all warm in the winter time with all of the dogs in there. It was great. It was great. Now I just sleep in a bed because I'm a boring adult, but younger me had some joie de vivre, Anyway, that just came to mind because of sleeping with the calicos. Just thinking, if you were in a pile of these guys at night, it would be very warm and cozy, and then you would probably die because they're look like 3 times the size of a human being, and have massive horns that would crush you. So maybe a little bit of a dangerous idea, but if it worked out, it would be very warm and cozy. Trying to run into a bunch of these flowers, build up some charges. Charging through the snow. I don't think crevices appear on the visible ice, so just go here. Just gotta charge your way up, don't slip backwards. Alright, we're at the fingers or whatever, the destination of our journey that we have seen, that we've been seeing off in the distance for quite a while. Seems like we are at the end here. Alright, they are actually a little bit farther away than they looked, but we're still pretty close. Stampede. the final charge of the game. Keep running into the flowers. It's a pretty cute game. Having played it for close to like 2 hours at this point, it's not, it's more of it's funny, I wouldn't describe it as like fun per se. It's not a like fun game. You're just sort of shepherding these guys around, which is not a particularly engaging mechanic, at least as developed in this game. And there's like, not really puzzles. The puzzles are very interesting. But that being said, I enjoy it. I think it's more of an experience than. Also, apparently the wind is quite strong up here. We have to brace ourselves against it so we don't get pushed back. It's definitely more of an experience, right? It's not meant to be a wow, I'm having so much fun playing this game moment to moment. It's more of you're just supposed to make your way through it and enjoy the vibes and the atmosphere and appreciate the story such as it is, It's very story light. Keep moving, boys. We gotta get to the top of the mountain. We gotta get to the top of the mountain. I don't know why, but we gotta get there. Okay. There's more flowers. I like our character's little druid staff thing. How he's got this stick that's kind of in bloom, and he can, use it to summon these flowers. It's kind of fun. At the start of the game, he's like under this bridge, sleeping on a mattress, and when the game starts, he like wakes up and goes out from under the bridge, and you start finding these calicos. I keep calling them calicos. Calicorns. But it gave somewhat like fantasy vibes to me, I guess. Like imaginary. Like this isn't a real journey. This is the fantasy of a child, the imagination of a child, imagining going through this whole adventure with this group of animals, while he himself is really just sleeping under a bridge in the city. Of course, you can take it any number of ways, no doubt. It's part of why it's such an open-ended game, but it's how it felt to me, anyways. They're gonna pull like the chitty chitty bang bang ending, right? Go through the whole adventure, and then at the very end you realize that it was real. And you cut back to the city, and this kid is just like wasting away on his little mattress. I'm sorry, it's not funny. It'd just be such a dark ending to this lovely journey. We're almost there. just push on. The wind is crazy. Okay. Take advantage of the gaps. Get forward. Get forward. Maybe you can, if you like go behind these rocks, you can kind of block the wind. You can just brace yourself and you don't even lose that much progress when you do, so it's not really a big deal. Keep going. What do you think we're gonna see on the other side? Wonder what's gonna be up there. Oh, the rocks are falling. Okay. Go on. We can make it. We can make. Whoa. Big rocks are sweeping down. For a second, I was like, I thought we were gonna have to avoid a bunch of giant stones whipping down towards us and not get flattened like pancakes. But we're okay. We have another spectral calicorn seeming to beckon us forward. And this wind never stops. I think we can make it at this point. We have some calicorn something or other here. Like a statue maybe, or a tree. We have one of these. Are we gonna grow flowers on the mountain? Turn the snowy mountain into a flowery wonderland. What's going on? What's going on? Everything went white. Everything has gone white. We have been enshrouded in a blizzard. White cow in a blizzard. Isn't that like a Calvin and Hobbes bit? You want to see my painting? I call it White Cow in a Blizzard. And then it's just the white canvas. Okay. Little boy is okay. Has pulled himself up out of the snow. I can mount the calicorn. Yay. We can ride it. Finally. Been playing for 2 hours and I finally get to do what we've all wanted to do since the beginning. Giddy up. Giddy up, old buddy. Giddy up. Follow the plants. it's our owl buddy flying around, joining us on our journey down the mountain. This is our paradise. This is what it's all been for. Coming to this valley down here. Okay. Trees, back with the trees. It's very nice. I like an alpine forest, snowy. Calicorns are like disco balls right now, man. They are lighting up with the colors. Oh, this is gorgeous. Snowy mountains on the three sides, and then this valley down here. Oh, and our owl is still with us. Big shape off in the distance there. Does it make me think of the part from the end of the never-ending story where the kid is riding on the dragon's back and he's throwing his fist up in the air and going, yeah, yeah. Also, there's other calicorns here. Yeah. Yeah. This is like a hot spring. It's very steamy. Let's go to this big tree sanctuary up here. Is this where the Calicorn god lives? We're going to meet the king of the Calicorns. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. I like all the Calicorns watching us arrive. Hey guys. Hey buddies. There's all this like constructed. Are the Calicorns intelligent? Are they like sentient beings in that way? They don't seem that smart, the way that they would just walk into spikes and stuff without me there to guide them. It's the Calicorn god. Or is that a shepherd? Is that like me? Is that the me that was here before me? The last Herdling that shepherded the Calicorns to this sanctuary. Oh, look at my new staff. Isn't that nice? Big statue. do like a whole video of like mouth sounds. No, that's nice. Our owl has joined us. It's a freaky looking thing. Alright, I think this is the end of the game. So of course I can't let the game end with everybody dirty. So let's go find all of the everybody that needs a cleaning. Clean them all up. Get everybody nice and fixed up. So they all look pretty for the ending cutscene. Okay. Are you dirty? Seem okay. I can also can summon them on the fire. If I sit at the blanket, but they all seem to be kind of coming over anyways. I can't clean you. Maybe I have to wait for him to get the fire. Can't interrupt his animation. That's rude to interrupt a Calicorn's animation. Alright. Get these sticks out of your fur. Anybody else? Anybody else? I think we're good. I think we're good here. And we have forged peace between the Calicorns and owls today. Brought their peoples together, so that's a victory as far as I'm concerned. Alright. Yep. There we go. That is the end of Herdling. The end of Herdling. As the camera lifts off into the sky, and another fire sparks up in this Calicorn sanctuary area. Guess there's other people out here, other people that have guided their own herds. So that's nice. Herdling. Herdling. Gorgeous. Alright. Created by Okamotive. Okamotive Creative Director Dan Schmacher. Well, thank you to all of these people. And as the credits roll here, I will say thank you for joining me as we play through this game today. I enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty fun. Just a nice little relaxing journey. Sort of atmospheric adventure focused on, the vibes and beautiful vistas and stuff like that. you well.